Greetings of peace to our dear brothers and sisters from this channel, Zoom channel. We also have our brothers and sisters in the Arabic translation channel and also from the YouTube channel. It is truly inspiring that you always find this time to be with us. And we from the Bara Meditation Center is truly so grateful that your presence had made this endeavor that we have worth going through. And most of all, to our speaker tonight, she's not actually a guest, she's one in the family, our dear sister Aruna Ladva, who tonight she's going to make us go into the depth of the power of silence. As they say that silence is not empty, but it is loaded. It's so full of answers and power. And that is what Aruna is going to make us go through tonight. So just a background, because her life itself is so full of inspiration. Aruna's first encounter with spiritual truths and experience of meditation was at the age of 8. Imagine at the age of 8. Her deep personal experiences led her to realize her purpose by the time she was 14 years old. And for over 4 decades of practicing meditation, she has then become also an accomplished spiritual author. Her gift of contemplative mind and her deep search for truth has enabled her to focus on her personal journey. And also, her writing was inspired by the teachings of the gentle art of Raja Yoga meditation. She facilitates retreats, trainings, manages self-development projects, as I think most of us had been through. And that is what we remember Aruna being with these retreats. Aruna has helped establish meditation centers in Vancouver, Canada, Istanbul, Turkey, and of course, in Bahrain, Manama, as we always fondly remember her to be our main big sister over here. And of course, Kuwait City in Kuwait, as she is currently based. As a certified negotiator in conflict resolution, an author and meditator, Aruna works to promote inner peace and harmony. In her own way, she has become a peace ambassador. So in November 2014, Aruna received a Woman of Excellence Award from the Yoga Federation of India for her contribution to social work. Aruna's clear intellect and insights help to convey spiritual wisdom in a way that is easy and accessible. And this we find in her blog, which started in 2013, that led her to launch 8 books. So for this, you can easily Google into the books of Sister Aruna. And they're really so helpful, so interesting to get hold of the book. And she has come up with a book, Conflict Resolution, which helps a lot in dealing with a lot of the conflicts. But tonight we are so grateful that she would be making us go through what truly is silence and go into its power. So without much ado, welcome Sister Aruna, and we're so thankful and we're so glad to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for such a long introduction. And yes, Bahrain still feels home every time I come. And welcome to everyone. We greet you with Om Shanti. Om Shanti is a greeting of peace. So let me begin with the topic of silence by saying that, let me begin with the topic of silence by saying that initially it was quite difficult for me to be in silence because I started meditating quite young as a teenager. And so you can imagine all the different distractions that a teenager would have. And in fact, when we had silence days within our Raj Yoga retreats, I would run so far from them. And it was like a punishment to be in silence for the day. So I would avoid going on those days, or I would avoid being around, meaning I would get busy in helping somewhere else, in the garden, in the kitchen, wherever, just not to have to focus on silence. But I can say that these 4 decades of meditating and going within every day has really taught me to learn to love silence. And as Vicky had mentioned, I actually was brought up in London, where there was a lot of people around me. In fact, in my own family, we were a big family, a lot of siblings. We lived together in a big house. And then I went to live with others. So in that house, there were many of us, like co-sharing. And then I went to Vancouver. And in Vancouver, there were very few of us. So again, I had to make that big shift from having lots of people around, chatting with many, and the time passes. But then in Vancouver, I had to spend more time by myself. And also the North American culture is such that, you know, everybody kind of takes care of themselves. And so everybody was busy in their world. So you can see that as I was moving from country to country, and then of course, when I came to Istanbul, I was alone, which I'd never lived on my own. So as I was, moving around, it was actually bringing me more and more within myself. So it's not just the meditation, it's also the life experiences that was helping me, I would say. So again, I want to emphasize that don't take these situations as a negative, and don't say to yourself that, oh, life is doing this to me. No, life is a school, and life is teaching us what we need to learn. And obviously that's what I needed to learn, is to go inside, be with myself, spend more time in silence, and really learn to love my company. And that's what I did in Istanbul. Actually, in Istanbul, I used to go out for a walk 3 times a day, after breakfast, after lunch, and 5 o'clock in the evening before having the evening meditation. And that was, again, just to be able to feel the world. We were lucky to have a flat near the Bosphorus, and just walking distance. And so I would walk along the seawall, and that in itself was a meditation. So I'm just pointing all this out to show you that, you can make of everything that happens to your life as a negative or as a positive. And luckily, I choose to see it all as positive. So there is a difference between being alone and being lonely. And that's, of course, another seminar. But for now, I just want to say that when we are alone, then we are able to really experience inner silence. We are really able to experience the silence of the mind, which I will go into depth later. So I have a few slides so that you don't have to look at me. Let me do that. So basically, I want to begin by saying that if silence what if silence really became your ally and your friend? Right? Ally means somebody who really helps you out. So how would your life be? Oops, I don't know what's happening. Oops, I'm giving away all my slides. One second. Okay. Yeah, so what if silence became your friend, your ally? So how would your life be different? Really take a moment to reflect on this question. If you incorporated more silence time, I don't know what's happening, just 1 second. Just 1 second, please. What's happening? Thanks a lot. Okay, we're there now. I'm not a very techie person. Sorry about this. Okay, I think it should be okay now. Right. So as I'm saying, what if it's okay now? Vicky, it's okay? Hmm? It's not. It's not happening. It will go by itself. Anyway, let's stop that. Yeah, but I want to sit here. I want to leave it here. Okay? Yeah. So yeah, I was saying, what if silence became your... Okay, you know what? I think we're going to leave this, but you can just see the slides here now. And I'm going to go through these with you. Okay, I'll show it to you later. Yeah, let's stop that. So I was saying that, yeah, what if silence became your friend and your ally? And I want you to check actually in your life. Do you always need to have sound around? For example, as soon as you walk into a room, say you're outside, you walk into a room, do you need to turn on the TV? Do you need to turn on the radio? Or when you're sitting in the train, when you're traveling, wherever, do you need to turn on music? So this is a way to check that, am I resisting the silence? And why am I resisting the silence? Why is it that I have to fill those silent moments with sound? Even, for example, when you are cooking, why is it that I need to have constant this humming sound behind me? In fact, some people even open the window just so that they can hear the outside world. See, I paused especially because between every word, there is silence, there is stillness. And if there wasn't that stillness, then I would be sounding like, oh, no, right? I would be sounding like this. It wouldn't make sense. So the silence in between words, the silence between actions is very important. If I don't have those silent moments, and you have to sometimes stop and give it to yourself. If I don't have those silent moments, then what happens is that I get busy being busy. And then I lose my energy. Silence is a means to accumulate my energy. Silence is a means to empower myself. Just as sleep, right? You need sleep to rejuvenate the body. So I need silence for my mind to rejuvenate my mind. So anyway, back to what I'm saying about what if, just answer this question to yourself. What if I took some time, not, and I don't mean you have to walk away, step away, but just maybe spend half a day focusing. Like I was trying to focus today because I knew I had to do this. So I was trying to focus, not talking much, not getting into too many things. I mean, not commenting too much, not expanding on issues, not talking about waste, just so that I can be mindful about what I'm saying now. So my point is, take moments out in the day and just pause, whatever word you want to call it. You can call it stopping, pausing, being, peace. Peace is another word for silence. Silence doesn't mean like no thought, but silence means a very powerful thought, right? So again, what I'm trying to say is, learn to love the silence, right? That's my first premise. Learn to love the silence and don't resist it. In fact, there are many people who work so much that they love the weekend because it's a time to be with themselves, right? So if it's a time to be with yourself, then how would you spend those precious hours? How would you spend those precious hours? And let me say another thing. We've seen so many of these pictures, whether you've seen it at the airport, in coffee shops. There's 4 or 5 people sitting together. And what are they doing? They're all on their mobile phones, right? That's not silence, is it? There's a silent atmosphere, but imagine how much is going on in the head and the heart. So that's not pure silence. That is not pure stillness. Pure silence is when I'm really immersed in one thought, in the beauty of one thought. And I'm lost in that thought. I'm content with that thought. I'm happy with that thought. See, the thing is, we cannot silence the mind. We cannot silence the mind. So what we do is we create few thoughts, but powerful thoughts, and we focus on those few thoughts, and we will experiment with that in between. But silence, pure silence, is not absence of thought. But it's this very loving feeling, and I feel very comfortable in that feeling, and that's the important thing. And what do they say? What do they say about lovers? When lovers talk, what do they say? They whisper. And when 2 angry people talk, they shout. So it's almost like when there is love, there is silence. When you really love somebody, you don't really need to say much. In fact, my other slide would have been, why is it that we need to speak? If silence is golden, then words are silver. If silence is deep, then words are shallow. Why is it that we need to speak? When 2 people are sitting together, What makes us feel that we have to speak? Why is it impossible to just sit there with that stillness? Why does it feel odd? That's my question. Why does it feel odd that I'm sitting here, and it could be two people that know each other or two people that don't know each other? But why does it feel odd? It shouldn't, right? But because we are so always being triggered with thought and action that it's impulsive. We feel, oh, I better say something. I have to say something. If I don't say something, then maybe they'll think I'm crazy. But no, we can just be sitting with each other and experiencing those moments of silence. And when we do that, then we learn to love ourselves. We learn to love our life. And that is the whole purpose to all this. The other reason why I need to speak is because of the big ego. The ego is constantly trying to prove itself. The ego is constantly trying to say, look at me, look at what I have to say, look at who I am. And so the ego pops its head up. So sometimes ask yourself, is it I speaking or is it I, the ego, speaking? And why can't the ego just be quiet? Why is it I have to walk into a room and I have to say, look, I'm this and I'm that and I'm the other and I did this? What if I could just walk into a room and be a nobody? Would that be okay? Could I just be me and not have to prove or justify myself? So this is the point. This is the thing about silence. This is, I'm trying to show you how silence can become a power. In fact, many years ago, there was a picture I had seen, and it was something like this, which was, it's better to remain a fool than to be proven right. So in other words, it was in reference to silence. Because sometimes when people open their mouth, then it shows that they don't have much to say. So sometimes it's better to exercise that inner power, inner control, and just have that silence and stillness and not react. Because you know what? I save myself from a lot of negative karma when I do that. Because as soon as I've said something, can I take it back? No. As soon as the word or words has come out, I can't take it back. I can apologize, but what's said is said. So that silence power helps us to oil the brakes of our mind. That silence power helps us to oil the brakes of our mind, where I slow down my thinking and then I'm able to take proper decisions so that I don't make mistakes, so I don't make mistakes that I regret. You see? And then I feel good. I feel at peace. I feel happy because I realized, wow, okay, I exercised power. That's the kind of silence I want you to learn. Not an abstract silence, not a busy silence. Busy silence, I mean by I'm silent with my mouth, but I'm busy with my mind. You know, trying to force that silence. No, but a powerful silence where I'm totally aware of this moment. I know what's going on, but I'm choosing not to say something. In fact, yesterday something happened and somebody was reacting to me. And at first I thought they were joking. So I was also replying in a joking way. Then I realized that they're not really joking. Means that's what's in their heart. So then I really became quiet. And I just listened with compassion. And then they also calmed down. They also stopped what they were saying. Now imagine if I didn't have that inner silence power, how that thing could have escalated, how it could have turned into an argument. So we know this, we know the answers. All of us here are experienced in life. We know when it is to put a full stop and not a comma, not a question mark, not an exclamation mark. We know that putting the full stop is that real silence. Like, just don't think about it. Don't think about it extra. Don't think about it more. Okay, I want to talk about the fear around silence. Many people are afraid of silence, as I was. And the fear is there because it's the fear of the unknown, isn't it? It's the fear of not knowing. And it's the fear, honestly, I'm saying from my experience, it's the fear of being with myself. So it's better to be in sound. It's better to be distracted. It's better to be engaged. It's better to be in denial than to have to face myself. So real silence is kind of really, embracing the self. It's the company with the self, the true self. When we sit with another person and we give them that, time and attention, then don't they appreciate it? Don't they love you for it? And they'll be so grateful because you gave them some good advice, you gave them some nice words, you gave them some nice words, and they're very grateful. So do we sit and do that with ourselves? Do we sit and say, you know what, Aruna, you're really good? Do we love ourselves in the same way that we would love another person? So that takes that peace, that takes, a little extra time and attention. It can't be done in haste, and you can't speed up this healing process, let's say, with a lot of words. Healing takes place in silence. What's the first thing that happens when somebody's sick? They need to go and sleep. They want to be alone. They want to be left alone. They need to rest. Now we know it's not just resting the body, but it's resting the mind. So that is what is silence power. And that deep silence power actually heals the soul, nourishes the soul, energizes the soul. So back to the fear. Why am I fearing? Yes, I'm fearing because I don't understand silence. That's why I'm saying we have to build a relationship with silence. What's the worst that can happen if you sit with yourself in silence? What's the worst that can happen? You sit and then what? You get some thoughts, you get some feelings, you get emotional. But then you have to trust that you will have the answers also. You will have the power to deal with what is coming up. But if I constantly avoid those issues, then, I never grow. And I don't get stronger because it's like, it's like a wound that never gets healed. And so that will always be my sensitive part. And who knows, maybe that wound can spread. and make the rest of me sick. So this is why the motivation to face our fears should be to become strong and powerful, so that there's nothing that weakens me, weakens my immunity. So when I take that time to be in silence, to be in stillness, then I'm able to nourish and nurture myself. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen in the future. I'm not afraid of the past or the repercussions of the past. I'm able to have the power to deal with what comes in front of me. Okay, sometimes people are afraid of death, which is like the ultimate silencing. What is death? Death is like you are no more. But you are no more in this existence, because we understand the soul is eternal. The soul is imperishable. The soul does not die. So I am eternal. I am imperishable. Nothing can kill me. No fire can burn me. No water can drown me. But the thing is, because I, the soul, am in this body here, again, I need to speak. But when the soul doesn't have a body, can it speak? It can't speak with words. It can speak with vibrations. So even this fear of death can be removed if I understand and truly get to terms with this concept that I am a soul. I'm not this body. And the soul is silent. The soul is quiet. The soul is peaceful. The soul doesn't need to prove itself again and again and again. It's this identity that has to prove itself again and again. Like Vicky gave such a big introduction. Would it have made a difference if she didn't? What if I just entered and spoke? Would you still be listening? So those introductions are given to respect, to welcome, but it shouldn't take away from our genuine love and respect, our natural love and respect, which comes from inside. Because we don't give because, we see the labels. Those are just labels. Is that really who I am? All these things Vicky mentioned. And also, am I only those things, or am I more? Each one of us is more. Each one of us is filled with so many qualities. We couldn't, finish a book if we were to sing the praise of each one. But when can we zoom in into these qualities? Is when we have a silent mind. Anyway, just to finish the fear bit. So the fear of death, can go when I know that I came from stillness, I came from silence, and I will return to silence. Yeah, just digest this point. I came from silence, and I will have to return to silence. So I better get used to the silence. Fear can only have a hold over me if I allow it to. When we find that people are feeling insecure, When we find that people are feeling insecure, they actually talk a lot, they actually do a lot. But when people have self-respect, they know themselves, they know their purpose, their meaning in life, they don't have to do a lot. They don't have to run around, they don't have to prove. So there is something to be said about this, stillness, peaceful. Like I'm equating silence, stillness, peace. All these are kind of a similar feeling. Yeah, are you beginning to feel still inside? Is your mind becoming still inside? Okay, so actually this time I wanted to do a meditation in between, so I think I'll do it now. Then I'll speak again, and then I'm happy to take questions. So Deepak bhai, if you can play a little light music. So because I want you to observe before and after meditation, okay? Okay, so let us just sit comfortably and just put down anything that you're holding. Don't, hold on to anything. Just sit comfortably. Take a deep breath. And as you take this deep breath, you take in peace. And as you breathe out, breathe out all the stress and tension. So my first question to you is, what does silence look like to me? And you don't need to tell anyone, so just be honest with yourself with these questions. What does silence look like to me? So when you think of silence, what are the words that emerge? What are the pictures that emerge in your mind? And if I go right into the deep core of my being, there I will find silence and stillness. And that is my center. That is my core, my strong core. Everything starts from silence. Every thought emerges from silence. Like a wave that comes in and goes out again. So I come into thought and I go back into silence. So what is that silent space I'd like you now to get in touch with that silent space inside of you. Try to get a feeling for that space. Maybe it's a feeling of comfort. Maybe it's a feeling of security. Maybe just a contentment. Maybe bliss. Maybe pure pride. Just savor this moment of this experience of your inner deep silence. And now I would like us to imagine that there is a silent world, just as there is this world of sound and noise, that there is a world of silence that is far from the world of noise. And now I arrive at that home of silence. And it's very comforting. I feel at home. It doesn't feel foreign. And there is this deep inner contentment. And there in the distance is sitting the silent one. God, Allah, Supreme. The source of silence. And I just enjoy the company of this ocean of silence. And let's just hold the silence for a few moments together in this collective energy. Just try to be still, just try to stay with the meditation and just enjoy being with God. And in your home of silence. And when you are ready, you come back to this moment, back to your seat, back to this world of sound. So now I want to address this aspect of learning to really love silence and play with silence and to make silence my friend. See, when I sit in meditation and I see the value, I see the benefit, then there will be a natural distaste for sound. It's not that I have to force myself. We had this discussion yesterday morning that it's, normally on a spiritual journey, we talk about detachment or we talk about disinterest, but this shouldn't be a forced disinterest. It's like, I'll give you a few examples. It's like when you start to love or like simplicity, then you don't want the glamour or the fashion. When you start loving the truth, then you don't want the lies. When you start loving, an easy life, a simple, uncomplicated life, then you don't like dramas. You don't want to be a drama queen because the simple life, simple thinking is something that, you're drawn towards. So my point is, it's not about pushing. Yeah, there are always two ways of dealing with something, either to push it away or to pull something towards you. So with this aspect of silence, it's not about pushing away the world. It's not about pushing away people. It's very easy for us to say, oh, if you be quiet, then my life would be more peaceful and calm. Yeah, I'm being more respectful, but normally we say, if you could shut up, please, then my life would be more peaceful. But that's not how it works. It's when I'm able to go more inside and really draw out my inner peace, that's what will make the things around me more quiet and peaceful. And we all have this within us. It's not for a chosen few. We all have this power, this ability, because every soul is filled with peace. It's just if you can go in and access it, if you will go in and access it. So each of us has this ability to go inside, take these moments, and then to bring it out and spread it. Yes, spread it like a fragrance. So spread that vibration of silence wherever you go. And we see this in our world. We see it with people when they come out of meditation or the meditation room. You know, they're carrying away that energy of silence and stillness into their lives, back into the world. And it does make a difference. It does make a difference to how you deal with things. So, yeah, learn to love, learn to understand, learn to appreciate. We have to appreciate the power of silence. And as I said, don't resist it. Okay, I want to talk about now something called your silent day. And maybe you might like to experiment with this. And we do this a lot, especially when we have retreats. Then one day, if it's a long retreat, 1 or 2 days. If it's a short retreat, then maybe half a day. We have silence. We hold the silence. So that doesn't mean we don't do anything. We do everything. We eat, we cook, we clean, we hear the lectures, but it is all done in silence. So I'd like to say to you, okay, maybe you can take a weekend and experiment with silence. So I would start from the night before. The night before, you need to check your thoughts and really to try and finish, bring closure to what has been happening, not just that day, but what has been happening that week or with certain people. And the reason for this is that if I don't put a full stop, or if I don't forgive and forget and let go, then really when you're in your silence, this thing will pull you. So really try to put a full stop, finish, apologize, finish all that story. And it's a good opportunity, isn't it, to finish the story. And then that evening, that night, start to contemplate about silence. And start to contemplate about yourself. Like do that, soul searching. What is it that you love about silence? What is it that you don't love about silence? And why do you resist it, if you resist it? And then just speak loving thoughts to yourself as you go to sleep. And remind yourself that you are a silent being, that you have the power and the ability to be silent and quiet. Yeah, so just try to build that relationship with silence the night before. Then when you wake up, try to wake up a little early and again sit with yourself for half an hour in silence. And in this, we call it meditation. So in that, I'd like you to take up one of the virtues, whatever, the peace, the love, the beauty, the kindness, mercy, compassion. Take one of these virtues and just try to be immersed, merged in that virtue. So it's not that you're thinking about it. Initially, you will think about it a few minutes, but then you immerse yourself in it. Because when you get immersed in that beauty, you're feeling very comfortable because it's a positive quality. And then you don't need to think that much. So the mind is not, worried or tensed or confused. Okay, and then, yeah, you do what you need to do. So you have to make your breakfast, you have to make your bed, you have to whatever. But you try to keep only few thoughts, powerful thoughts. You can also decide on that at the end of your meditation. What is something you'd like to think about? So maybe you might say to yourself, as I come into action, I want to be an angel. As I come into action, I want to stay peaceful. So keep this aim for yourself for the next few hours. And notice yourself. This is why I do this a lot. Like, why do I need to speak? Is this really important? Is it really necessary? Why is it that I have to say this? Is it going to help the other person? Or is it going to distract them or take them away from their inner world? So obviously, you know, gossip, complaints, criticism is out the window. Like you don't go there. You don't want to be doing that. So if you have something to say, make it positive, make it powerful. Otherwise, no need to speak. And if you notice, you see, every time we do the meditation, then, you know, we naturally come into silence. We naturally come into silence. It's not a forced silence, and we just want to speak less. So, yeah, and then, as I said, try to do this every week. Some of us also try to maintain few hours silence in the morning. So you can create whatever is, you know, comfortable for you, but try to, yeah, incorporate more silence into your life. It will really help you, heal you, nourish you, nurture you, make you stable. Also, yeah, I meant to say in the slide that when the mind is silent, don't you get a lot of creative solutions? You get a lot of creative solutions. You troubleshoot. You know, many times when I've sat in silence, I've got ideas like, let's do this, let's do that, you know, a project or a program or a retreat or planning of a house or whatever. Like, so now I know that if I need to be creative, I need to go into silence. And that really helps. So I see there's a lot of comments. I haven't been reading them to not be distracted. But Vicky, I'm happy to take some questions now.
Yeah, okay, yes, sister. So we have the first question. Do we need to meditate while silencing, or could we do physical work while being silent?
Yeah, definitely. You can, as I said, you can continue to do what you need to do.
So, yeah, so shall we go for the next question? The next question is being silent equivalent to being in state of soul consciousness?
Yes. Now let us explain soul consciousness because not everybody knows. So soul consciousness, as I was saying earlier, is be more in the awareness. When I'm more in that consciousness of being that eternal, infinite light, then I'm a little beyond my awareness. I don't get so in. I realize that I have to focus on the soul. Like I have to focus on the well-being of the soul, not just the well-being of the body. So that is soul consciousness, yes.
Yeah, okay. I think the net is going into silence too, so it's breaking. The sound come. It's going into silence. Yeah, okay. So I don't know which side is it. Even me, the voice is breaking.
Yeah, trying to be silent.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So now that's fine. So shall we go for the next question?
Yeah, but Vicky, I noticed there was one above. I know the lady. So she's saying silence is one of the hardest things to achieve, as if I don't want to be with myself or something like that. Yeah, so I would answer to that really you have to try. And my how to say it, my policy in life is um, try the things that you're resisting, because there's a reason why you're resisting it. So if I say something is difficult, then I should want to try it more and make it easy. This is my own personal philosophy. So I don't want to make anything difficult for me. So Sundars, to you, I would say, try to be with yourself, try to cross that. And it's actually sometimes a mental barrier that we think it's difficult, and we can't see what's beyond that. But once you do, you will really love yourself for it. Yes, Vicky. You're muted.
There was a comment or question about soul consciousness, which just came now, because that time when you were giving the answer to soul consciousness, that was a time when there was breaking of the voice. It was
Really?
going into silent. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that, just to be more in that awareness that I'm an eternal, infinite light. See, the whole idea of practicing soul consciousness is to be concerned about the well-being of the soul and not just the body. Right? So if I'm body conscious, it's like all I'm thinking about is the body, the survival of the body, the food for the body, the earning, the shelter for the body. But if I'm soul conscious, then I also have to think about, okay, well, I have to do something for the soul. I have to maintain my peace. I have to maintain my power. I have to create some good karma for my future. So that soul consciousness keeps us more alert into the unlimited and not just limited with the body conscious attitude.
Okay, so I think, yeah, that's okay. So next question is, how would you differentiate between silence and peace? The word mostly talks about peace.
The world mostly talks about peace.
Peace, yeah.
So how do I differentiate? Well, one leads to the other. I think to be peaceful, you have to be quiet and silent. You don't need to say much. But if you need to say, you do say it, but you say it peacefully. So I would say maybe silence is the journey to having that peaceful life. Vicky?
Okay, so this is the question. I don't know if that was the question that you got earlier. Silence takes time, and I will lose time to achieve more tasks and be productive. Silence takes time, and about tasks that would be missed and to be productive. It's like losing time for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Sometimes when you're silent, when the mind is clear, when there's very few thoughts, you're very focused. So you actually accomplish a lot with a clear mind. So I don't agree. That's why I'm saying we have to understand what is real silence. It's the quietness of the mind, it's the peacefulness of the mind, it's the contentment of the mind. Silence is not like this silence where there's no noise. Our soul silence is a very rich silence. You see? And that's what we have to understand. That's the world I should be attracted to, is this rich, silent world.
So we have an interesting question here. So this is a request. Right after you spoke, speaking, and right after the meditation started, you ask if we are in silence yet. How did it work so magically, even though you are on the computer screen? What is the mechanism? Thank you.
No, we are just reminding each other. We are just helping to tell each other what we have. So I'm just, as I speak these words, I'm just reminding you that you have that and you're getting in touch with that. That's why I said earlier, we all have that peace. It's not that you're feeling my peace, you are feeling your peace. You're feeling your inner peace, you see? It feels like you're feeling the peace I'm sending. I'm not sending through the computer, but you have woken up to that inner peace in you. Yeah? So as we sit like this, we're helping each other actually. That's the idea of collective meditation, group meditation. Yes.
So, okay. So we have the next question. What do you mean by being soul rich by being silent? What do
Okay.
you mean by being soul rich by being silent?
Yes. Well, what I mean is that if I really looked into the treasure of the soul, then I would realize that I have so many powers inside, so many virtues, so many qualities. You see, when I say I, anyone, any one of us, when we say I, we are a bundle of these powers and qualities. I is not just this body of flesh and bone. I is the being. I is something more than just this, flesh and bone. So the more I focus and look in the inner recesses of the soul, I will realize, oh, I had this quality. Oh, I have this power. And that's what we're doing in meditation. In meditation, it's like we're taking a magnifying glass and looking at the self and seeing, oh, wow, I really have these powers. I didn't know that. It's like the genie's lamp. Like it's when you rub it that then the genie comes alive. So here too, it's like with the soul, it's when I'm really, focused and paying attention. And it's like that attention is like the rubbing of the soul. And then comes to light all my powers and virtues. Because the thing is, it's all there within us. This is what we forget. We all have that love and peace and kindness and compassion. It's right here. Otherwise, where do we get it from? Does peace grow on trees? Can you buy peace from the supermarket? No, it's right here inside of me. So in meditation is a method, is a tool to get in touch with myself. And another word synonymous with meditation is silence. Another word that's synonymous with meditation is to be peaceful, to be quiet. So these are methods by which to get more in touch with myself. And then I realize, wow, I have these tools. It's like when you're looking for something in the basement, in the attic, if you're busy, confused, agitated, nervous, you won't find it. But as soon as you sit down, you're quiet, you let go. Yeah, it's within those moments that then you will find it. So it's so important to have this peace, this peacefulness, this quietness of quiet mind. Yeah. And also, yeah, I wanted to answer. There was somebody who wrote privately saying they can't sit with themselves. They were referring to the comment I made that we want to run from ourselves. So yeah, again, why is it that we can't learn to love ourselves and sit with ourselves? Being in silence and stillness is an act of love for the self. Why are we always running away from ourselves? It's like if we don't want to sit with somebody, what do? We run the other way. Yeah, somebody comes into the room, we go to another room. Am I doing that with myself? So I would only do that with myself if I don't love myself. So let us learn to love ourselves. Let us learn to sit with ourselves. Maybe we will get to know ourselves better and realize, wow, I can be a really good friend to myself. Yes, Vicky, any more?
Yeah, we have quite a number. Now let's take the questions from the Arabic group. So when we sit with a patient in the hospital and he needs hope, do we have to sit in silence?
No. Again, it's like when the doctor comes, the doctor knows, right, which medicine to give to the patient. So if we go in as a spiritual doctor, then we should check. We should see, what is it that this person needs. Is it that this person needs me to talk and lift them up, lift their spirits? Or does this person need silence? Does this person need some love, attention, like something nice? You cook something nice for them or something like that. So yeah, be a spiritual doctor and feel the pulse and see what is the need of the moment, and then provide that.
Okay, so we have a variety of questions coming. Next, what is the difference between silence and isolation?
Yeah, big difference. Silence is loving. Silence feels securing. Silence is comfortable. Silence is pleasant. In silence, you're happy, you're content. But in isolation, it's like a torture. Isolation, it's like sorrow. Isolation, it's difficult. So there's a big difference. That's why actually when we take people into retreats and we give them the silence day, we are also there for them. In other words, in case, they want to talk to somebody, something has come up. So that's where it's good to be maybe around people in case something comes up in that silence. But it shouldn't be a suffering. Silence shouldn't be, torture and suffering of the soul. Silence is very comforting, very pleasing. That's the difference.
Okay, and still from the Arabic group, does the silence answer the question, who am I and the purpose of my being here in this life?
To an extent, yeah. To an extent. Because what I mean is, it's not that I'm just silent and that's it. But then it has to be a very creative or, let's say, proactive silence. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, like Adi Janki, who is the yogi of over 104. She passed away earlier this year. So I noticed that actually she would speak a lot, she shared a lot of her wisdom. But then there were many times that I just saw her sitting in silence. So it's not that if one is silent, one doesn't do anything. In that silence, she was coming up with food for the mind. So there was a very active creative process that was taking place. So that then when she lectured, she came out with pearls of wisdom. So that's the kind of silence we want, where you feel calm, you feel at peace, but yeah, still, you know, calmness of mind.
So the next question is, I work in sewing and keep quiet for many hours and feel peace and calm. Is my silence at the time of knitting useful or sewing?
Is my
He's
silence
doing the sewing, yeah.
and
So when
sewing?
he's doing that work, yeah. So would keep quiet for many hours and feel peace and calm. Is my silence at the time of knitting useful? You know, this knitting thing.
Well, it depends. I mean, you can see it as a meditation. Um, yeah, if see, at the end of it, you should feel nourished. At the end of it, you should feel powerful. At the end of it, you should feel content. So if these things are happening, then yes, stay quiet. See, my main thing is it shouldn't be a forced silence, Vicky. Right? It shouldn't be, oh, now 1 hour I have to stay silent, so I have to zip up. No, it should be a natural, you flow in and out. And just a little observance of the self, like, yes, am I talking too much? Is it necessary? Do I need to say this? Do I need to comment on this? Can it happen without me commenting? So just a little awareness of this, you see? So maybe when you're knitting, maybe, as I said, maybe there are times when somebody needs your good company, you see? And maybe they need to hear some lovely things from you. And that would be more purposeful in that moment than to be silent. But the point is that you're in control of that silence. That's the main thing. You know when you want to come into sound and when you want to come into silence. That's the power of silence.
Yeah, I think that is a very good clarification. So this question is quite a personal question. What are the differences you noticed on yourself after practicing more silence in your life? And other than half hour in morning, how often do we do your silence in a day?
Well, I noticed I got into less trouble by staying more quiet and silent. Made more friends. Yeah, apart from that, no. Of course, many years of meditation have really helped me to really not think too much about many things. Like I'm able to put full stop more easily, let go. And honestly, I don't hold anything against anyone. I mean, all this is practice of meditation of many years. So yes, it does have many, positive effects or after effects. And what was the second part of the question? You're muted. You're
In the
muted.
day, other than half hour in the morning, how often do we do silence in a day?
Yeah, so like I said, it's not a conscious, oh, now I have to be silent. But as I said, it's just a natural observance of the mind and the mouth. Like, is it necessary to say this? Or is this waste? If I talk about this, it's talking about waste. Of course, not to talk about others at all. But it's just waste, isn't it? And this waste doesn't do good for my soul. So it's just a natural observance. But in the morning, yeah, morning time is precious. So all of us, just to help keep the atmosphere peaceful, we try not to speak. We keep the volume down. We whisper. Yeah.
So I guess you have given us a very good start for a journey to look forward to go into this golden moment of stillness brought about by the silence, and you have given us a lot of inspiration and motivation that still there is that power left that we have to practice and hold on to. So thank you so much
I
for.
just like to leave with the last thought, Vicky. Like, I'd like you all to imagine, what if there was more silence in the world? Like, what if we all, made less noise? We all spoke less. Wouldn't that change the vibration of the planet? I'll just leave you with that thought.
Yeah, it's a golden thought really to bring along with us. So anyway, just these two. Thank you so much. And indeed, silence, I think everyone have appreciated.
Thank
Before
you.
I plug in the two programs, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Shan.
So before we go, may we give this announcement of the two programs that are coming. One program is on Friday, the 30th of October, and we have very well sought speaker Vicky, 10 to 11:30 a.m. And in the flyer, take note of the links that you can avail yourself. So that is on the 30th of October. And the next day is the topic, Your Body Speaks Your Mind, and with Peter Williams. So the following day, take note of the time at 7:30 to 8:45 Kuwait time. So thank you to everyone for being with us tonight, and really we can be together in this beautiful power of silence. Thank you so much.